Hey everyone. So this might be one of our favorite lessons. And when people are like, pick something that you feel like is the most profound, like mind-blowing concept, what would it be? We probably both would say this one, self-image. Would you agree, Renee?
Yes.
Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So it really is a powerful concept. Why don't you share, like, what was your biggest when you learned about self-image?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, you, anybody.
I didn't know you're talking to Candy.
I'm like, hey, I'm going to just hesitate here.
So the biggest aha for me was learning that we have two self-images. We have the internal self-image, and then we have the one that we project to the world. And sometimes they don't match up. So that was a really big eye opener for me. And, I continue to strive to learn more about self-image and how to help people with, learning about it and embodying great qualities of self-image, because we have total control over it. So it's a beautiful thing to teach our children.
The thing.
Yes.
One of the most.
The thing.
Yes, for sure. So we'll go ahead and get into it here. So really, self-image, as we were saying earlier, it's so interesting because whether we realize it or not, our entire lives, from the time we're very, very little, as life happens and we become conditioned, and were sharing with you about buying into programs and paradigms, we create a self-image internally, right? And then there's also the one that's what we project to the world, this how we want the world to see us. And what's really, really cool about what we'll be doing together in this work is making them be one, where it's you are intentional about the self-image that you're creating. And it's when you hear the word alignment, it's aligning how we feel about ourselves, our internal self-image, and our external together. So I'm so happy you're here. All right,
Hi, Chad.
Hi, Chad. Hi. So happy you guys are here.
Okay.
So do you want to talk about this?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so a really very interesting book, Aunt Candy, you would be obsessed with this one. It's called Psycho-Cybernetics, and Dr. Maxwell Maltz, he was a surgeon, a plastic surgeon. And so he would do these surgeries on people. And what he would realize is he began being like a scientist. Like, why do some people get these surgeries and they literally are a different human? And then some people get these surgeries and it's reconstructive, and they still have the same beliefs, the same feelings. Maybe they had their nose all their life. They were just had this image of their nose being too big or whatever it is. And then they fix it and it's still there. And so this is really how he came to the conclusion that we really do have two self-images. And one is internal, as we were just saying, and one is external. But what's so cool is it can be changed. I don't know, have you guys ever met someone that like really reinvented themselves? Chad, I know, especially with everything, like you've helped a lot of people completely reinvent, both of you, reinvent their lives. So maybe that person was going through struggles and really deep difficulties, and they've literally transformed. They've changed form from the person that they were before. And this is in large part, maybe we don't call it that, but it's in large part due to the self-image that has been created.
So as far as when I first heard the name of this book, I said to myself, what the heck is that? But once you learn about, we all have a cybernetic system in our bodies, and it's kind of like our thermostat. So, the way we think of ourselves when we try new things, oftentimes we go back to, what we're used to, because that's where our cybernetic system is ingrained in our subconscious mind. And so it's almost like a thermostat in the sense where if you set the temperature and then the door opens and it's cold and then it kicks on. We also have a cybernetic system within us, and that's a huge part of our self-image and how we see ourselves. So we would like to go through a little bit of a activity with you to help you really understand a little bit more about using admiration for others as inspiration for your own self-image.
Yeah. And, Renee, right before we get into this, really what it's coming back to is a sense of worthiness. Sometimes we've bought into a belief system based on situations or circumstances or whatever, that because of those conditions that we are not good enough or we are not worthy enough. And right before we hopped on this, I heard something that I was like, oh my gosh, that's so profound. So Bob Proctor, when he ran into this woman who is going into coaching, and he said, I'm going to ask you something. If I had this briefcase with $1 million and you could give it, there were two people standing in front of you, and you could give this $1 million you could give it away. Who would you give it to? And woman one is a hardworking mom, and she has she's willing to do anything. She's all in. She's hardworking. And then woman two is homeless, and she's maybe struggles with addiction. She's been on the road, the homelessness path for a long time. Who do you think should get the briefcase? And she's like, is this a trick question? I feel like my gut reaction would be woman one. She's hardworking. She would do more. And he's like, why? He's like, I figured you'd say that, but what if they were both equally as worthy just because they're humans? And he's like, so many of us have created a self-worth that is contingent. It's always contingent upon something. It's always conditional. And it's like your worth it doesn't change. It doesn't change if you're hardworking. That's just the paradigm that you've created. He's like, you just told me about your paradigms of hardworking being the way. He's like, now I know that your thermostat's always going to be set to work hard. And she's like, oh my goodness, mind blown in so many different ways, right? So it's like our intention here is to get back to your knowing that you're awesome. If a child was born, you wouldn't be like, oh, sweet little baby. If you are this, then you're worthy. And if you grow up to do this, then you're worthy. And as long as you don't make mistakes, no, you don't do that. You're like, little baby, you're worthy and you're amazing and you're wonderful. And it's not contingent upon anything. It's not conditional, unconditional love. And so as we're going about this journey, that's the whole point, is for you to realize that your worth is unconditional, and that anything you see in somebody else is also within you, and that there's no strings attached to this worthiness. And Renee and I were talking earlier today that it's very interesting that our self-image lesson today has happened on the heels of seeing about Twitch and, people committing suicide, and there's a lot of addiction, and people are struggling, and it's in large part because they don't see themselves with the self-image of worth that is unconditional. So I kind of took us in a tangent there, but I felt like it really just resonated so much with what we're speaking to today. Okay. Do you guys have a piece of paper?
Yes.
Oh,
It doesn't have to be
We don't have rules around here.
No
Just
rules.
anything. Do you have a napkin?
yeah.
All
no,
right.
I have to get something.
Okay. Well, wait.
Okay.
You know what? I've got a quick analogy that is going to sound really crazy to that. And it's a TV show, but I thought it was pretty interesting. I was listening to one the other day about Chicago fire, and this guy at the last minute saves this guy who was a total jerk, just had been doing things, not being kind, etc. And then he got into trouble, and the firefighter saved him. And when he said to his boss, he's like, something about, you did a great great job today saving that life. And he said, well, I'm starting to question that. And he was questioning because, and so his boss said, why? And he said, because he's such a jerk. And so he gave this analogy, which I thought was pretty cool. He said, you saved a human. That's who you saved.
Yeah.
And you gave him another chance. And what he does now, that chance is up to him. But you gave him that opportunity because you chose a human, not a jerk, but just a human.
Right.
And so I know that sounds kind of corny, TV show, but it really made me think about it. I'm like, you're all too often judge instead of just, accepting that people are human and you're kind and you want to help, and then their journey. It made me think about that when you said about somebody who is homeless and comes in and comes out. I always think, I've been in this field so long, that this might be the time. This might be one time that they're able to grab the rope and be able to change. And so if you don't keep back, then they never have that opportunity. So it just made me think about that.
Thank you
Told
for
you it was a little
sharing
corny.
that.
Thank you for sharing that. Well, and we'll take it a step further as it pertains to self-image, because I believe everything in life is an invitation. So it's like an invitation to learn more about ourselves. It's an invitation to judge less. And so there's this Buddha practice that says, like, every time you point to someone else and judge them, there are three fingers pointing back at you. So you could complete the sentence with just like me. And so not in a judgment way, but also it's like, if you're saying someone is a jerk, it's like, oh, is there a little jerky part inside of me that has opportunity for healing? Or if, we're all works in progress. Like we'll never get it done. We'll never get it all right. Like we're humans. Like there's humanness to this. And so I think if we can see through that lens, like the goodness we see in another is also within us, which is part of this activity. And also the parts that trigger us, they're a mirror. They give us opportunity to say, oh, where are there parts inside of me that still have opportunity to heal and to grow? And maybe it gives you great clarity or contrast of what you don't want. And so it still has a purpose, right? So okay, this activity is called Admiration as Inspiration. And especially as educators or parents or grandparents, or, you can see how we develop this need to judge and compare, right? It's like, oh, look at them, look at grades, scores, better on the soccer field. Like we develop these programs and paradigms that are really more of a scarcity instead of like, oh, look, they can, I can too. That person's successful. They're showing me what success looks like. That person's happy. Like they're showing me that you could be happy. Like instead of using it as evidence of like all that's within you and what you're able to do, we create separation instead of oneness. And so this activity is a really great activity to really see this. So on your piece of paper or napkin or whatever you're writing on, fold it into 3 pieces or put it into 3 columns like Renee put up here. And then at the top of each of those, choose 3 people that you have some form of admiration for. So it could be somebody living, someone not living. It could be someone that you know, someone that you don't know, someone famous, not famous. But in each category, put the name of one person. So you should have a total of 3 people that you admire.
Already did that. I'm ready.
All right.
Okay, good. In my classroom, I'd be like, put your thumb up when you're ready to move on.
Put your head if you're ready. Yeah.
Okay, good. And then under each name, you're going to put 5 characteristics or qualities. Like, what is it about that person that you really admire? So write 5 characteristics. So you should have a total of 15 at least. So it could be internal characteristics, or maybe they're giving or philanthropic or kind, loving, sincere, authentic, anything.
That's a lot of writing for me to do.
You can just do 3.
All right, you can do 3. You don't. There's no rules here.
Your life, your rules. Yeah. You can just think of them if it makes you feel better. You don't have to write them.
Well, there's always something about putting the pen to the paper that makes a difference.
It's true.
Right.
You can think all you want, and that don't really get the work done. It don't
You're
get the
right.
job done. I've had to learn that the hard way, and sometimes I still don't do it.
Cutting
Mm.
corners. Don't step in the grass. We
Yeah,
still
well, I'm
won't
always
step in the
looking for the easier, softer way.
grass.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
don't
still
step
won't.
on the grass,
Don't step
so
on
I
the grass.
tiptoe on the weeds.
Yep. And if it feels aligned, maybe you could share some that come to mind because it might give someone else some ideas of
Sure.
words.
For me, it's pretty cut and dry. There's three people that stuck out in my mind immediately. And these three people, they didn't just tell me how to do things. They showed me how to do it.
Yeah.
Um, and one of them, for example, is my grandmother. Um, there's a great history with my grandmother and I, and she's not with us no more, but she was just wise. And one of the main things that stuck out in my mind, and one of the greatest lessons that I ever learned from her. And she taught me a lot. I just didn't absorb all of them. The greatest lesson that I ever learned from her was when she was laying on her deathbed, and I was visiting her in hospice, and it was rainy, dull, dreary when I looked out the hospice window, and my grandma said, and she called me Chotty. She said, Chotty, what's the weather like out there today? And I said, Grandma, it's shitty. I said, it's raining, it's dreary, it's gray, it's ugly. And she looked at me and she said, Chotty, it's a beautiful day.
Aww.
And I processed this because she said, every day that you're alive is a beautiful day.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's the only thing that I ever let stick that she taught me. And so, there's one thing.
Ah, thank
And
you.
other people for other things.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that is
that.
beautiful. I
Yeah.
love that.
What a
What's your
great
grandmother's
memory.
name?
Her name is Dorothy.
Dorothy. I love that. What?
Good name.
Yeah, that's
Very
perfect.
special.
Beautiful day. I love that.
It is. So every day when I get up and I look out my window and it's raining, it's cold, I want to say, man, it's crappy out there. But I remember what Grandma told me, on her last breaths. Every day is a beautiful day,
Yeah.
as long as you're breathing. So yeah, that helps me a lot.
Love that. Love that.
Absolutely.
Well, and it's interesting because what you say about her, so the word wise is something I would use to describe you. So isn't it interesting that we can't see in another something that's not also within us? So you are wise and you love the wisdom from her, which is so cool. So what about you, Candy?
Well, I did this and I did it when I was on the computer. And one of the themes that I had for all the people that I chose was courageous. They were, no offense, but they were all women. Just looking at each one of them and their history, they've been courageous for for different reasons, one of my friends was in the military, just very courageous. Another one of my people that I'm close with just ventured out on her own and started up a private practice and has just expanded it and does art therapy for free and is just very compassionate, inventive, and just kind of fought the odds. So actually walked off her one job and said, yeah, I'm not going to be treated this way. And then just went out and made a better path. So I think all of them for that same reason. Courageous is just really a word that I think describes all of them.
Love that.
Yeah.
So we have an invitation, as Chad said, to actually apply versus no. So take some of these of words that you use to describe people that you admire and really start saying to yourself, I am courageous. I am wise. I am innovative. I am, and literally it's going to feel a little interesting at first because we don't always we can see characteristics and qualities in another, but we don't always embody them, which is going to take us to the end of this, which is, I don't believe in fake it till you make it type.
Well, we didn't do this
go
yet.
ahead.
You want to do
Okay.
this quickly? Or do you want me to go to the quote?
We'll just go to the quote. We can cover this in another one, and
Okay.
this is in. So this is not really a fake it till you make it program where it's like, okay, I'm this, but really just realizing that you're connected in the image, you're created in the image, you are connected to an infinite supply of source, and there truly is nothing that you cannot be, do, or have, regardless of any conditions or contingencies or anything. So let this become a process of like embodiment and integration. If there are things that you desire to be in this life, if there's the characteristic, it's like, okay, today I'm going to wake up and how can I carry a little more grandma wisdom inside of me and really embody that wisdom? How can I embody more courage today? I am a courageous being. How can I embody a little bit more courage today? What would be one action that a courageous woman would take today? And just realizing that like life is a game. It is this beautiful opportunity to play each day as you want to. If you admire people who are loving, how can I be more loving today? If you admire people who are kind, how can I be more kind today? If you love people who are present, how can I be more present today? And it could literally be as simple as stopping at the gas station and literally looking into the blue eyes of the person there, the way that they smile, saying their name. My mom called me out the other day because I met someone on the beach and my heart just pulled, and my mom said, did you ask her name? And I'm like, I did not. I talked to her. We had a moment. I didn't ask her name. She's like, everybody feels more important when you ask them their name. And I'm like, okay, I will never have another moment that goes by like that I will not ask their name. But every day is a chance to do again. Like every day is a chance to be a little bit more of who we are. And there's not a perfection to it. It's a practice. It's an embodiment. It's an integration. It's a intentionality. Each day is another chance. And so our invitation with your self-image is to really just decide who it is that you want to be and be a little more of that, and let the internal voice that you say to yourself match the external vision that you carry. And like we said, really align those self-images together.
Takes a lot of time to be able to look into the mirror and like who you see. It's taken me a lifetime so far, and I still have to adjust that image. I still have to look in that mirror, and I still have to make sure that I'm still liking who I'm seeing, and I'm not trying to fool myself.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have to back up. I got to start over again for that day and try to do the next right thing. So ladies like you, for example, you lift people up, and that's because you have it in you. And when we take that out into the world and give what was so freely given to us back, it makes for a great day. And it's so cool that, Angie, that you talked about talking to this person at the beach, because today I found myself, I don't know why, eating lunch. I seen a gentleman talking on his phone, sitting over the table, ordered his lunch, And I went over after I thought about it a minute and I said, "Sir, what's your name?" That's the first thing I asked him.
Yeah.
And he told me his name. And I said, "Well, I'm sorry, but I thought I recognized you." And I said, "But you're not who I thought you were."
Yeah.
I said, "But do you live around here?" We just had a little short conversation. And he went on to tell me he's from Chicago and he's just visiting. And I said, "Well, sorry to bother you." I went and I sat down, and on his way out, I said, "Merry Christmas, sir." And
Aw,
you know what? It's things like that that change my day.
yes.
Right.
He
Yeah.
changed my day, and he never said a word,
Yeah.
but he changed my day. He made my day a little better.
Yes.
I love
So
that.
thanks for sharing that about
It's
you,
so
Angie.
cool. Thank you. And this is what it's all about. Like, this is what this work is. We aren't meant to do this alone. Like, human beings are made to, we're, like the oak trees, like our roots are meant to be linked together so that we can withstand the storms. And I think that that's why it's so cool. Like, we learn, right? I'll do different next time. And it doesn't mean do better. It's I'll do different. And each day
Yeah.
we get a chance to do different. And as we learn more and as our level of awareness and understanding rises, then we can do different more times. And life just happens to feel a little more magical, right? Because you have that level of awareness. You could take that moment that you met that gentleman and you could allow it to enrich your life. You could have taken the same situation and circumstance and not had that level of awareness. And it was just another encounter. Oh, sorry, Mr. Wrong person. Bye.
Sure.
It wouldn't have the same impact. So it's like, it's so cool when you can realize like that you get to feel like that through these little tiny changes in your life. It's cool. Thank you, Chad.
Yeah. Thank you, girls.
Thank you both for being here today. We're so happy that you are enjoying this program and getting the most out of it that you possibly can. And, we're always on, available if anybody has questions or wants to meet or, just wants to chat about the lessons. We are always open to that. So, but thank you so much. And we hope you enjoyed this. And we are at
Thank you.
6:30, so we're going to let you go. But definitely enjoy your week, and we hope to see you.
Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Oh, are we not meeting next week?
No.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, just kidding. Well,
The week
Merry
after
almost
we're not.
Christmas season anyway. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Good. Have a good.